There are going to be people who click on this video to tell me just how stupid I am, and that's fine. To those people, I say, just hang on for a second. Let me explain myself. It might make sense in a minute.
Say it with me, for we walk by faith, not by sight.
In this video, we are comparing a Mach 1 over here, 305 horse, 4 valves per cylinder, double overhead cam V8 versus a V6. Now, why in the heck would I compare these two cars? Here's one thing. I like corners. I like going out, ripping through some back roads, or I might even get into autocrossing. I'm not sure. Right off the rip, you're going to say, hey, this Mach 1 is the better car. It's got a shaker, which is awesome. It's got a color called Azure Blue that only came with the Mach 1. Heck, it's even got a hood stripe. Can't beat that. It's got better brakes than the V6. Not that one, but it's got better brakes. It has the same brakes that came on the Cobras, the 13-inch rotors in the front. It has better seats, which we'll see in a second. It has 305 horse. I don't know the torque number off the top of my head, but it's a faster car than the V6. Now, why might you actually want a V6? What's the name of the channel? It's cheap old cars, guys. This car right here is worth roughly $10,000 less than that car. Now, if you want to talk about, I actually got a pretty good deal on the Mach 1, so let's say $8,000 to $10,000. If you're not going drag racing, if you're not going straight line racing, if you're out for a cornering car that's cheap, easy to work on, reliable, and has cheap parts, and is just really a great starter car to have for a cornering build, you're starting $10,000 less over here. Yeah, you're not going to be as quick in a straight line, and it's not going to be as cool as a Mach 1. If we put the two things to the side that this car has, the straight line speed and the coolness of the Mach 1 name and kind of look, it's the same chassis, the same basic suspension, and $10,000 less. Let's say you're thinking about building a momentum car to actually improve your skills as a driver in corners. This car over here might actually be the one to do it with. Now, something we do want to consider when we actually think about these two cars, these two drastically different cars behind me, is cost of mods. The Mach 1 already has Cobra brakes. It has bigger brakes, bigger calipers and everything. The V6, the brakes are kind of weak on those and the GTs, and so that's a cost that you need to get that car at least equal to that car. Now, I'm not going to go into the cost of like high-end brake pads or really nice brake pads because that car would need that too, so that's something you'd have to do to both of them. The cost to upgrade the front brakes on these cars to Cobra brakes is $300, at least when I did it, maybe $350, $400 now. It's really not that much. The V6 car over here does not have a rear sway bar, so that's $150, $200 off eBay. Find yourself a rear sway bar. I got one off of a 96 Cobra. There's one last thing I'll get to in a second. All the other mods you might want to do to the Mach 1 to make it handle better, you can do to a V6 as well. So if you're talking about like, oh, well, coilovers or this or that or whatever on that V6, you're going to have to be talking about that on the Mach 1 too, because the mods will be the same. Now, one difference between them is the rear ends. The Mach 1 has the 8.8, the V6 has a 7.5 smaller rear end. One thing to note with the V6 rear end, the 7.5-inch ring gear, it doesn't have Positrack or any kind of traction locking thing, whereas the Mach 1 does, so that's definitely a benefit this car has. You would want to upgrade the rear end. That's something you'd have to, so brakes and rear end, okay, on that one. Now, I'm going to show the interiors right here, but we're going to talk about seats. The Mach 1 has the same basic seats as the 0304 Cobra. Now, they're all leather, whereas the 0304 Cobra had that had that suede or Alcantara between, in the seat back and the bottom that holds you in place a little better because it kind of grips to your clothes. The foam is the same though. The V6, which I'll show here, has very flat seats, and so that's going to be a problem. But these Mach 1s aren't new at this point either, and those seats are kind of wore out typically. So that's not something I'm going to actually factor into like the cost of what you'd have to do to the V6, because I personally think if you're making one of these cars handle, you need to do a good seat in either of them. So brake pad upgrades, both of them. This one would need different rotors and calipers in the front. You have to do seats in both of them. You're probably going to be changing springs, dampers, all that stuff in both of the cars anyway.